Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nurmalika Chisti, and I am a representative in the Sufi Order International, a member of the Southern California Muslim Jewish Forum, which was convened by the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, and I am on the board of Regeneration, an organization that is seeding the Middle East with schools where Arab and Jewish children are being educated together.
Hello, I'm Ruth Broidy Sharon. Shalom Aleichem. I'm Jewish. I am the co-chair of the Southern California Parliament of the World's Religions. I've been very active in Interfaith for 25 years, and both of us, Nurmalika and myself, are also members of the Muslim Jewish Women's Dialogue Group here in West Los Angeles, and we call ourselves the Cousins. And we've been meeting for 11 years, through thick and through thin times. And
Amen.
The reason that we're speaking to all of you today and why we feel this is so important is because we have broken hearts. We have broken hearts about what's happening, especially in the Middle East. There are certainly many, many other places in the world that need our attention, but in particular, we're brokenhearted, and we're not here to talk politics. We're not here to take sides. We're not here to prove points and bring out documentation. We're here to talk about what courage it takes to maintain friendship and to continue to cultivate trust and love with someone even though they stand on the other side of the Great Divide. It's a huge challenge, and we're frightened by what we see in cyberspace, the hatred, the venom, the vindictiveness. It's scary.
It is indeed. And what I know that kind of energy, what it does is it closes the heart. And the Quran tells us that God cannot be contained in the entire universe, but can be found in the heart and our own hearts. So if we're letting our hearts be closed through anger and hatred, which is aplenty these days, then how will we have access to receiving the kind of guidance from God that will help us to truly make a new way?
And we're not here because we've held hands and sung Kumbaya together, that's for sure. We also had our rocky moments. I would say it happened about 5 years ago, and we were having such difficulty between the two of us that it spilled over into our interfaith community. And at one point, we didn't know whether we could continue being friends or being associated with one another. And that was the moment when our good friend, Dr. Thomas Hedberg, stepped in and said, "Let me hold space for the two of you. Let's the three of us meet together." He said, "I will be not just a space holder, but I will be there as your brother. And let's work this out, because the entire community needs to see that the two of you will be friends again."
And so we arrived at Thomas's house, and the atmosphere was so prepared for us. I mean, we walked into a holy space that he had created, and I think just the outcome of that is that we felt like lovers after we were done. We kept calling each other for days, and we had become so connected in our hearts in such a deep way from having gone through the journey together and come through the other side. So
I just wanted to point something out, is that, and this is also true of what's happening today, is that we came with distinct narratives about what the problem was and distinct narratives about each other. And Thomas asked us, first of all, and I'll never forget this, he said, "First of all, Ruth, tell me what you like about Nurmalika." And I spoke about her leadership abilities, about her creativity, I said all these things about her which I knew her to be true. And then he turned to Nurmalika and he said, "And what would you say about Ruth?" And she said,
"The same thing."
And then we laughed, we looked at each other, and then he said, "Okay, now let's go to the harder part." He said, "What are the things, what is your issue here? What is it that you would like each other to know about what is upsetting to you, what's painful for you, what's bothering you?" And he gently led us through that. And I have to say, it was a minefield. And it was, even though he was a very loving presence and so forth, it was really hard. We both cried because we both, after we told what our problem was, he asked us to acknowledge what was our part in creating that. And I remember the stretch, the huge emotional, psychological stretch that each of us had to make to be able to acknowledge how we had contributed to the disharmony. But then something miraculous happened.
Yeah.
When we went through that and we both accepted responsibility for our part in it, the heavens opened up. I remember there was actually light flooding down into the room, and we looked at each other and we knew that whatever had come between us before then, it would never be that way again.
But it served a wonderful purpose. It was a huge lesson for both of us, and we were able to share our story in Melbourne, the Parliament of World Religions. But people stopped both of us after that workshop and said it was one of the best workshops in the whole Parliament for them, because it wasn't somebody talking about theory and how you listen and speak from your heart, but it was us telling our real story, real life story. So we're hoping again that we can share a story that will move others to move past disharmony, because what we've both noticed is that in interfaith communities where not just where Muslim and Jewish people are, but
all the religions.
All the religions. And there has been, people have been stretched to the point where it seems like they're forgetting that they love each other. So we realize that reminding people that we love each other, and it's just like in our own nuclear family, you may love everybody in your family, but it's highly unlikely you agree with everybody. And it's that way in life. And Ruth and I have never been under the illusion that we have agreed on these certain issues, but we don't let it separate us.
Or who did what to whom when.
Yeah, because
right.
that's not going to help at all. So we want to reaffirm that as our strong belief that if humanity is going to create a world of harmony and peace, then we have to be able to move past that, and we have to keep our hearts open to each other.
And because this now cyberspace has allowed anybody and everyone to express his and her opinion, we have seen a wave of venom come out, which is so distressing to us that we're wondering, with this great advance in technology, which has allowed everyone to speak to everyone else on the globe almost, or soon that's going to happen, and we're allowed to express our opinions freely, if we haven't been tutored in how to speak to one another, if we don't have the language of nonviolent communication that we know Marshall Rosenberg has been teaching for years, and so few people have been able to not only experience it in their own lives, but have been able to learn it in order to change the way they speak with their families, with their friends, with their communities, with people they don't agree with. If we don't develop that language for ourselves, we are going to pollute cyberspace, just the way we have polluted our media here as well, and polluted conversations that we've had with one another. And it's so troubling to us, because even though we know that we could put our gloves on and do the thing that we see everybody else doing, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And we're going to be looking at the bigger picture that we are children of Abraham and that all of us are children of humanity. We know that.
God said, I could have made you all one people, but I didn't, so you can come to know one another, and you should compete with each other in doing good works.
So we're here to urge you, wherever you are, in whatever standpoint you have used to be able to view the situation, we're here to tell you that there is more than one way to look at a situation. And if you can open yourself up to the possibility that someone else also has a valid viewpoint, even if it's not your own, and that every person deserves the dignity of being respected for his or her viewpoint, as long as it's nonviolent and doesn't encourage violence, then we can make some headway. And Nur Malika, there's a favorite poem that we both love from Rumi.
Beyond the field of wrongdoing and right doing,
there is a field,
and I'll meet
you
there.
there. We'll meet you there.
We'll meet you there. We will look for you. Inshallah.
Be'ezrat Hashem. Go and make peace.
Please.